She walked the flight line in old jeans. A pilot snapped, "Staff stays out." He didn't know her name, her scars, or her rank. When the alarm sounded, the staffer took command, because Colonel Jacika Smith had come to fly the hard truth. The base looked like a promise with its paint peeled off. Metal shone. Sand hissed against hangar doors. The morning wind lifted the smell of fuel and salt. A dusty road led in and out straight as a blade. Jacika Smith kept to the edge. Plain jacket, ball cap, scuffed boots. The brim hit her eyes. It didn't hide the habit. She scanned, counted, measured drift and delay. A tail rotor whined too high. A ladder stood unattended. A crewman yanked a hose like it was a rope on a stubborn mule. On her wrist, a watch with a cracked face ticked. It lost minutes, then lurched to catch them. Her father's. It had died twice in Afghanistan and once over the Sudanese border. She never fixed the glass. The scar on the watch made sense to her. A pilot stepped into her path. Tall, clean flight suit. Helmet tucked under one arm. He wore his swagger like a badge. "Restricted area," he said. "Staff behind the tape." His name patch read Haynes. The aviator lenses flashed her reflection back at her. To him she was nobody. To him she was a problem that slowed the checklist. "I'm not staff," she said. "You're not flight crew," he said. "So you're in the way." "Ma'am." The ma'am didn't carry respect. It carried impatience. It carried hurry. She could have flashed a card. Could have spoken the rank. The room would have shifted. Instead, she touched the broken watch and said, "I'm observing." "Observe from the bleachers," he said. "Security will show you." A young guard hesitated. He watched her boots more than her face. She nodded anyway and stepped back. No fight, no flare. The guard relaxed as if he'd been holding his breath for an hour. Engines rolled. The ramp groaned. People watched without watching. You can feel it when eyes cut your way and pretend they don't. She felt it and let it pass. At the mess door, she paused. The glass showed sky and rotors and the dusty road dragging off toward a pale horizon. She dug into her pocket. An empty wallet. Nothing inside but a folded paper star made from a ration label. A habit. She made one for every deployment that asked for more than it said it would. The wallet reminded her of all the things she'd given away without thinking. She put it back. Inside, a TV talked about weather. A cook hummed. A spoon clanged against steel. She took a coffee that tasted like burned dirt and sat in a corner where she could see the door and the back wall at once. Later, when the sun climbed and the heat bent distant air, she walked to admin. The hallway smelled like copy toner and old tape. A bulletin board held a faded photo of a change of command. Faces in rows. The names were bold. The eyes were tired. She knocked once on a glass door and stepped into a quiet office. "Colonel Smith," the base commander said, already standing. "You made good time." "I came early," she said. "I like to see the bones before the skin." "You found them?" he asked. "I found a pilot who thinks rank is a runway," she said. The commander cracked a smile. "Haynes, best stick on the coast. Hardest head, too." "I'm not here to sand heads," she said. "I'm here to keep people alive." He held her gaze and then nodded. "Briefing at 0900, your call." She touched the watch again. The second hand shivered and then moved. She watched it sweep past the scratch where the glass had taken a stone outside Lashkar Gah. Time keeps walking, even if it limps. Out on the tarmac, Haynes laughed with two other pilots. Their helmets knocked against their thighs. He never looked her way. She didn't need him to. She left the office and took the long way to the briefing room. The dusty road ran alongside the fence, and the fence ran alongside the runway, and everything ran toward the heat. She thought about the empty wallet, about the paper star, about the guard's held breath. She laid a single sheet on the podium. Names, call signs, a plan stitched with short lines and long margins. Brevity leaves room for life. The door opened. Voices spilled. Metal chairs scraped concrete. She stood, plain jacket on, cap still down. She felt the room take its measure. She felt Haynes stop just inside the door. Then she said, "Good morning." All the noise fell through the floor. "Let's begin," she said, and lifted the sheet, as the base sirens lit the air with their first hard wail. The sirens cut. The room held silence like a filled glass. Everyone waited to see who would drink it first. Jacika set the cap on the podium. The hair at her temple was threaded with gray. Her eyes were steady and dry. She said her name. Then she said her title, SEAL Colonel, Joint Billet, operational authority for the exercise and the incident that had triggered the alarm. Rank changed the air. It didn't change her. She kept her shoulders square. She kept her voice level. "You'll want to know why I didn't wear bars on the line," she said, "because people tell the truth when they think it costs them nothing." Every pilot watched Haynes without moving their heads. You could feel them watch him. He stared at the map like it owed him money. "Operation Deep Current," she said. "Mixed aviation and special warfare. Real-world tasking just came in. We have a fishing trawler with a false flag. We have a hold that doesn't match its manifest. We have a possible transfer of munitions at a cove north of the inlet. We will treat this like live fire. We will act like we're not allowed to fail." She unfolded the empty wallet and set it beside the sheet. Its leather had softened with years. The inside shone where cards had rubbed it smooth. She didn't explain it. She just set it there. People understand what is missing even when no one names it. She split flight into elements. She paired them with ground teams. She drew lines that moved like fingers, not fists. Haynes asked a question that sounded like a challenge. "Who's writing the air game?" "With respect, ma'am. SEALs fight water and doors. We fight sky. Both require oxygen," she said. "I've taken doors you could only find with a map from above." "Sit, Captain," he sat. Heat rose in the room like breath from pavement. Her phone buzzed. A text from Intel. She read it twice. A drone had taken an unauthorized look at the cove yesterday. We were not the ones flying it. She looked up. "Adjustments," she said. "We pushed the timeline forward by 2 hours." She watched the faces do the math. Gear, fuel, tide, light. She gave them the sequence anyway. There is comfort in a path when the terrain is shifting. She finished with a note she had carried for years. "You don't earn trust by asking for it," she said. "You earn it by proving you listened." "I will do the same." Something moved in Haynes's face. A muscle flickered in his cheek. He was proud, and pride had saved him before. Pride had also cost him. As they filed out, she slid the empty wallet into her pocket. It barely weighed more than a thought. It felt like hunger and like choice. On the way to ops, she passed the bulletin board again. A fresh sheet had been pinned there sometime in the last hour. Closed area reminder. She thought of how stories travel on bases. By noon, a rumor can outpace a jet. She'd seen an old base day account once about a woman on a flight line. A clipboard, a cold stare, a reveal hours later, and how fast it turned to legend. English, auto-generated Pilo. She stepped into ops. The room was a knot of radios and maps and blinking patients. The watch on her wrist lost a beat and then leapt to catch it. She tapped the glass once as if she could steady time with a fingertip. "Launch window +40, the controller said. "Make it +20, she said. "We won't be the second story told today." "Haynes?" the controller asked. "He flies lead," she said. "He'll learn faster up front." The controller raised an eyebrow. "You sure?" "I don't fly revenge," she said. "I fly results." Down the hall, boots started moving in waves. Slack turned tight. Jokes dried. People always get quiet when the plan starts to become a place. She stepped outside. The wind had shifted. Dust walked the fence line. The road looked longer now. She was halfway to the flight line when a figure blocked her path. The young guard from the morning. He had taken the brim off his hat. "He held it in both hands, ma'am," he said. "About earlier." You did your job," she said. He nodded and swallowed. "Will you be on the bird?" "I'll be where the work needs me," she said. He looked past her. "Then I hope the work needs you with us." A shadow crossed the concrete. She looked up. A helo moved past. Nose low, rotors biting. A huge insect that had learned to carry grief. Haynes walked under it like he owned the shade. The radio at her hip spat one word in a clipped voice. "Hold." She felt the base still itself again. "Say it," she told the radio. "Unknown radar paint," the voice said. "High fast, no squawk. South to north. Close to your corridor." She turned toward the runway, toward the dusty road, and started to run. Because the paint on the scope just made a sharp, deliberate turn. The blip carved an arc like a hook. Then it thinned. Then it fattened. The scope always makes a stranger feel either bigger or closer than you expect. Either way, it steals a breath. "Identify," she said into her radio. "Negative." "No mode 3, negative IFF," came back. The controller's voice had sand in it. "Winds?" 20 at 8, he said. She did the simple math in her head. Approach, escape, Time on station. All of it tasted like copper. Haynes jogged up, helmet on, visor up. You want me to hold or chase? He asked. You want to chase, she said. I want you to hold. He didn't like it, but he knew the move. He settled the irritation under a clipped copy. She checked the straps on a crew chief passing her. Hands move when your mind wants to chew something it can't swallow. The watch ticked. The second hand stuttered. Her father used to hold it to his ear and say, "It's honest about its wounds." She palmed the empty wallet. It made her think of the first time she'd kept one empty on purpose. She had given all her cash to a sailor whose wife had flown home without him and gotten stuck in Kuwait. The sailor had cried. She had told him to shut up and run. The habit stuck. Give where it hurts. That way you remember. A tech handed her a tablet. "Ma'am, the unknown just popped cold. We lost it." Or it got clever, she said. She stood in the shade of the hangar and watched how people picked up speed without thinking about it. Activity looks different when fear oils the bearings. Quicker, quieter. It skips over the jokes. "Launch," she said. Rotors smashed the air flat. Wind pushed grit up her pants legs. She tasted it. It tasted like dried-out lemons. Haynes's bird rolled. The nose rocked. He looked right at her as he passed. He didn't salute. He dipped the nose a fraction. It was either disrespect or humor. She took it as acknowledgement and saved the argument for a day that would not set anybody on fire. She climbed into the second bird. The crew chief shoved a headset at her. "You riding command net or crew?" "Both," she said. One in each ear. The pilot glanced back. Older than Haynes. Lines like strings at the corners of his eyes. He gave her a thumbs up as if to say, "I know how to take a hand on my shoulder." They lifted. The base shrank and the road unspooled. Dust rose off it in puffs that looked like breath. The ocean beyond had a white seam where waves shouldered the shore. "Lead, push to the cove," she said. "Element 2, take the ridge. Watch for lookouts, no lights." "No show, copy," Haynes said. His voice was calm, clipped, a metronome for nerves. No swagger on the net. She filed that under useful. As they crossed the inlet, a fishing boat cut a hard angle and then slowed, as if it had remembered something in the wrong pocket. A figure on deck tightened a line that didn't need tightening. Movements give people away. Movements tell you when a deckhand is really a guard. "Eyes on the trawler," she said. "Track." Her watch hitched. The glass flashed sunlight up into her face. She closed her eyes for one beat. The watch had saved her life once when the glass glinted and a shooter turned toward it and missed her by a shoulder. She owed that scratch. The ridge rose under them like a held breath. The cove appeared in a bite of darker blue. In the pocket of shadow, the drone's memory said, "There." She pictured it white and stubborn like a jaw. "Lead, hold," she said. "Negative," Haynes said. "I have movement near the mouth. I can tag it now and be gone." "You can tag it and wake the hill," she said. "Hold, copy," he said after 2 long ticks. She could hear the effort it took. On the beach, a small truck rolled fast, too fast for sand. It left a thin tail like a comet, dust and grit and impatience. "That road is your runway if this goes ugly," she told the older pilot. "Keep it in your eye," he nodded. "Always pick a plan that looks like dirt," he said. Haynes's voice came soft. 2 heat blooms north of the cove. Rockets. Maybe engines. Maybe something worse. "Hold your breath," she said, which meant do not fire, do not flinch, do not move your nose even a hair. A click on the net. Unknown keys. Someone listening. She pointed down and left. The crew chief followed her finger and swore once, a small prayer with no church behind it. A container truck backed toward the tide line. Men in cheap shoes and good gloves lifted a crate that had no business near water. "Lid," she said. "Now." Haynes dropped like a hawk that had waited too long on a wire, and the cove lit with a hard white bloom that wasn't his. Light tore the cove open. Sound followed a half-second late, sudden and heavy. The shock rolled into their belly, up their ribs, into their teeth. The pilot cursed in a voice too even to be afraid. "Flash from the ridge," Haynes said. "Not me." "Counterfire?" she asked. "Or warning." "Felt like a door slamming," he said. Her watch had stopped. The second hand pointed at a nick. No tick, no lurch. Silence against her skin. "Lead, swing east." "Get tall," she said. "Copy." On the beach, men scattered. One fell. One stayed and dragged the crate. The ocean didn't care. It kept doing its slow work like a clerk. "Element 2, show them teeth." No bite, she said. 2 flares went up from the ridge. Bright, then thin, then gone. The message folded into light. We see you. We do not need to prove it. Something moved on the cliff. Not men, not rock. She felt it more than saw it. Its shadow cut wrong. Talk to me, she said. Paint back on, the controller said from far behind them. High Fast is circling. It's watching your circus. Jacika took the empty wallet out, opened it, and felt for the paper star. Her fingers found the crease where 4 points met. She didn't need luck. She needed discipline. The star felt like both. Haynes, hold the cove at 1500. No lower, she said. Understood. The radio clicked again. Keys in no pattern. The kind of sound a bored or careful man makes when he wants to own silence. She leaned toward the crew chief. If we need to set down that road, we'll do, she said. It's dust, he said. It's ruts and gravel and heat shimmer. It's better than water, she said. He grinned with half his mouth. Most things are. On the beach, the crate broke open. The men swore. Even at altitude, you can read swears in hands. The top slumped. Inside, shapes wrapped in dull oilcloth. Not missiles. Not rifles. They were too square. Too patient. Lead, you see it? She asked. Affirm, Haynes said. He sounded disappointed. Like a kid who'd found homework where he'd wanted fireworks. A second flash, closer, not a weapon. A mirror. Someone trying to code daylight. She squinted and read parts of it. Old habits. Old school. It wasn't for them. It was for the thing High Fast up there. Her shoulders tightened. Whoever's watching us has friends in cheap shoes, she said on crewnet. So let's not pose. The older pilot breathed out. Copy. Her watch started again. A single tick that felt like a finger tapping a coffin. She closed her hand over it. Command, I can end this now, Haynes said, low, controlled. A short, clean cut. Clean cuts bleed later, she said. Hold. Ma'am, with respect. With respect is how you begin a sentence that wants to disobey, she said. Hold, Captain, he held. She felt it. Then the ridge drew a darker shadow and a shape stepped from it. Not a man. Not a crate. It moved with weight but no hurry. Her throat went dry. Talk to me, she said. Thermal pops, Haynes said. That's a drone on legs, a walker. Home brewer purchased from a friend with no flag. Test dog, she said. We're the park. The walker turned its head. Cameras where eyes should be. It stared at the sky like it was thinking. Element 2, make noise, she said. A single loudspeaker blast hit the cove. Feedback whined. Someone on the beach threw a hand up as if to block sound. The walker didn't flinch. It cocked its head. It was learning. It was trying to find whose orders mattered most down there. Lead back out, she said. Draw it. Roger, Haynes said. He climbed. He drifted. He beckoned with motion the way you beckon a stray dog with food. The walker took one step. Sand gave under its foot. It tested the give. It took another. It turned from the cove toward the dusty road as if it knew the road was ours and it wanted to own it. Command, the controller said, voice thin with distance. High Fast just dropped a pod. Unknown signature. Your road is about to get complicated. She looked at the road, at the heat shimmer, at the way the dust rose. She swallowed. Haynes, she said. Stay tall. Stay tempting. Copy. The pod hit the road and burst like a smashed beetle. Small things scampered out. They were fast. They were low. They loved the dirt. Ma'am, the crew chief said. You ever land on a road with teeth? Once, she said. How'd it go? She smiled once. I'm still here. She leaned forward and said, We're landing. The pilot glanced back. On that? On that, she said. Why? Because the only way to stop something that learns is to teach it the wrong lesson first. They lined up on the dusty road. Heat rose. The pod's children moved like metal mice. Her watch ticked. It hit the scratch again and shivered there, as the nose began to drop and the road began to bite back. The skids kissed dirt. Then they sank an inch. Then they held. The rotor wash made a storm of grit. The metal mice fanned out, each one hugging a rut. Little mouths of movement. Filters, the pilot barked. Let's not feed the engine salad. Chief, clear the nose, she said. He swung out with a pole and swatted a mouse into the scrub. It hummed like an electric tooth. Haynes, keep their eyes up, she said. Paint wide. No trigger. Roger, he said. His voice was all work now. She could picture his jaw tight and his shoulders quiet. She popped the door. Heat stepped in like an old lover who knew the house. She dropped into it. The road was softer than it looked. Her foot sank and came up with a cuff of dust. She moved toward the pod sprawl. A mouse darted toward her boot. She kicked it. It skittered and died with a flick of light. She picked it up. It was clumsy up close, clever in swarms, dumb alone. Like some men, she held it to her ear. It buzzed a half-second after she lifted it. A delayed echo. She filed the detail. Delay matters. She looked at the pod. Its ribs were sprung. Wires dangled. A sticker half-torn showed a serial in Cyrillic, or a very close forgery. The watch ticked. She opened the empty wallet and took out the paper star. She slid it into the pod's torn panel and wedged it under a lead, a small foolish act, a marker. If this thing ran, she would know which one was hers. Back in the cabin, the pilot yelled, "Fuel pressure." She climbed in and slammed the door. Line? Maybe filter. Maybe the mice got mouthy. She smelled it then. Raw fuel, thin, high. The kind of smell that turns a road into a rumor. "Shut the aw," she said. "Feather. Keep it shy, we limp. We don't sprint, copy. Haynes," she said. "Still tall," he said. "Walker likes me." "Good," she said. "Make it love you." She pulled tape from a pouch. She tore it with her teeth. The crew chief handed her a strip of thin leather with holes punched in it. "What's that?" she asked. He grinned. "My wallet gave its life for this team 3 tours ago. I keep a piece. Reminds me to live cheap and land soft." She looked at the leather and then at the empty wallet in her own pocket. She laughed once, a dry sound. Honor among beggars. They patched the line with leather and tape and a prayer you say with your hands. The pilot tickled the throttle. The numbers steadied, but they looked fragile, like a kid standing too close to the edge of a pool. "Up," she said. They pulled. The road let go like it didn't want to. The skids dragged a breath and then cleared. Dust swarmed, then fell. On the beach, men loaded their wounded pride back into crates. The walker turned its head again, curious. Haynes drifted just out of reach, a deliberate sin. "Controller," she said. "Log this as contact with experimental ground drone. Mark the pod type. Tag the road, copy," he said. "High fast moving north. It likes you less now?" "Good," she said. "I prefer mutual disinterest." Her watch hiccuped. She tapped it. The second hand moved like a soldier forced back to his feet. The cove fell behind. The ridge softened. The base grew from a smudge into a place with edges. The older pilot breathed. "We bring the mice home?" he asked. "We bring the lesson home," she said. "The mice stay. The road keeps their teeth." "Haynes, RTB," she said. "You held. You learned. You're not dead." That's 3 wins silence. She imagined him choking on the thanks he didn't want to give. Then a click. "Copy. RTB." They were 6 minutes from the runway when the alarm hit again. Not the base sirens, the tight metallic scream of something in tow. "Tail," the crew chief said. "Something small. Something angry." She craned and saw it. A newer mouse, airborne. It had found a friend with rotors. It chased the backwash like a moth chases heat. "Haynes?" she asked. "I have one too," he said. "They're persistent." "Like debt," she smiled despite herself. "Break by pairs on my mark. Make them choose. Then starve them." "Ready," he said. "Mark," she said. They split. The mice hesitated that half-second she had heard in the dead mouse's buzz. That delay was a door. "Now," she said, they both climbed. The mice overshot and lost the wake, and for a heartbeat they hung stupid in the hot air, surprised to be alone. "Kill your lights," she said. "Let them chase a sun that doesn't care." They slid into the base pattern without showing nerves. The mice drifted south like bad ideas. The skids touched concrete. The rotors wound down. The pilot took his hands off the stick like it might burn him now that it didn't need him. Haynes's bird shut down 2 pads over. He kept his helmet on an extra beat. Then he pulled it and walked across the line. He stopped in front of her. He looked like a man who had set a match down and watched it die. "You were right," he said, voice low. "About everything I didn't want to hear." "Good," she said. "Remember that the next time your mouth outruns your eyes." He nodded. His eyes flicked to the empty wallet as she slid it back in her pocket. He didn't ask. He wasn't ready for that story. They walked toward ops together. The dusty road lay beyond the fence, quiet as if it hadn't tried to climb into their blades. The watch on her wrist ticked so loudly in her head she almost laughed. The ops door opened. The commander stood with a sheet of paper in his hand. His face had that look bosses have when the thing in their hand wants to change the floor under your feet. "Colonel," he said, "you need to hear this." She took the paper and read the first line. and saw her own name tied to an order she had never given.